for Our World Media Magazine. I'm here at Resort World Casino in Queens, speaking with the legendary Double Exposure. Joe, Jimmy, Charlie, Butch. Hi, guys.
Hey, what's up, baby?
I wanted to ask you a few questions. Do you all realize, well, I've known you guys for like 40 years. And how I know that is because I met you all when I was 20. And I was on the radio. And I interviewed you all. So now, 40 years later, my question to you guys is, how have you all kept it together? I mean, you are the original Double Exposure. Nobody's been replaced. You are the same four guys that I met 40 years ago. What is your secret?
We signed the contract with the devil. Make sure we stay together.
Hey.
Who wants to answer that, Charlie?
God bless that we all are still here. That's number one.
That's right.
And
that's true.
We all grew up together. And so we're more like brothers than just say a group that maybe has been together, by outside interests, So by us all knowing each other, living in the same neighborhood, basically going to the same schools and all, that's about how we stay together.
Butch, don't you all get sick of each other from time to time, or no?
Yeah.
Let's hear the truth.
Hell yeah.
Bunch of brothers. We get on each other's nerves sometimes. Yeah.
Definitely.
But it's like any family.
Okay.
Any family. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have arguments. But you always find a way to solve your problems and work it out. That's all. And keep it going.
Jimmy, what's your...
The same thing. And yeah, we have some doozies too. You be fire in your eyes, but all you gotta do is get away from them for a day or two, a week, come back. Then you come back feeling, even though you weren't wrong or whoever, you come back feeling as though you were wrong. So, and you can see it. So.
You gotta have a sense of humor and a real thick skin too, because these guys are brutal.
Butch, what is your thought?
Well, I was just thinking that, in spite of sometimes we have our differences, but we have a bond. And I think that's the answer. We just have a bond. We all respect each other, first of all, and we all give each other respect. But, we have different like any other siblings, but we get through it.
Exactly.
We get through it.
Exactly.
I want to take you back a little bit. I've been in the studio with you guys many, many years ago. And I want to ask you, when you were in the studio and you was doing your recording of your different songs, did you know at that particular moment, a particular song, that was going to be the hit?
Certain ones, you kind of felt it. You felt strong.
I would say the first one, 10%.
10%?
Because when we had finished recording and it was being mixed down, the late Norman Harris, he was responsible mainly for that particular song, and everybody was quiet in the studio. Nobody said anything after the music had played, and Norman Harris said, "That's your hit." It became a pass.
But see, we were young guys, and we're young guys, so you don't be all hyped up. Yeah, well, maybe it'll be good. I don't think so, but you think so, but you don't think so. It takes luck. It really takes luck.
Yes, it does.
Because I know that we've liked a lot of songs and thought that was going to be good, and they weren't. And they don't get to play. But like you said, this was a brand new thing. I remember when I went home, when I first heard it on the radio.
That was my next question. But go right ahead. I wanted to ask you, how did you feel when you first heard that song on the radio?
Excited.
It was remarkable.
Excited.
Very much.
Yeah.
But you know what? When 10% was finished, I had no idea what it was going to do. It was a good product. I had no idea. And as Jimmy said, we recorded a lot of good stuff, but the record company didn't choose to play it, But we did a lot of good stuff, I feel.
We have some very unbelievable ballads
Some
that
very good ballads.
people have never really heard because, as was stated, the record company was more interested in the disco and fast music and the club, the dance, and and so a lot of music, really good music, got lost and got away.
Joe, you was telling me that you was back in the studios working on a few new stuff. Can you tell me about it?
We've been involved in a project with Bobby Eli. It's ongoing. We've got a couple other things to listen to. We've been listening to some tracks. We've recorded some things. We're still sorting through some material, just looking for some things that we feel strong about. Bobby is one of the last original members of MFSB. He's one of the last ones around. And he has a studio down right outside of Philly. And we've done a lot of work together last year too. And hopefully we'll generate a couple of hits out of there. We're still working on some things, and it's fun being in there. It's fun being creative. Having the opportunity to be creative and experiment, try things. And hopefully we're going to have something positive come out of it.
Matter of fact, what we're going to do, "Never Let Me Go," it's an old rendition of Curtis Mayfield, right? Curtis Mayfield.
Luther Vandross.
He has done it.
And we're going to sing it tonight.
Oh, that's
It's
wonderful.
another rendition that we've done with Bobby Eli. Never
Tell
Let
me,
Go.
what else are you working on? Have anybody came up with you doing a documentary on your life?
No.
Why I ask is because you are the originals, and there's so few groups that have the original members, and I just think that's awesome. That you have been together all these years. And the different changes that you have seen in the music industry from 40 years ago to today.
Exactly. You're straight.
You
A
know,
lot.
how do you feel about the different changes?
Blessed that you're still able to hang. Hey.
That's true. But
The changes, I don't know. It's like, it's very difficult because you look at groups, when we were coming up, we had groups before us that were, iconic, and that's where you learn from. But the younger people today, for lack of a better word, younger people, they have their own way of doing things, and it's not so much. It's not as good as when we were coming up. But the money is much stronger
where we came from.
because we had 10% mileage free in this era, we wouldn't even be here right now. I mean,
That's true. That's true.
yeah, we wouldn't be here right now. But it's just the way time evolves. You got to take what you get, and just appreciate the fact that you were able to put something out there that lasted.
This long.
Yeah, that went this time. Of course, they still play our record on radio.
Yes, they do.
Matter of fact, a friend of mine called me up today. He said, how come I always hear y'all record, on MC Classic or in the TV?
Uh-huh.
He said, why come I always hearing I don't hear Disco Inferno? So I don't know.
Now, you guys are from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You all have made a very big impression on New York City. I mean, I'm talking about 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, today. Everybody remembers Double Exposure. What do you attribute that to be? What made New York love you so much?
I have no idea.
Hit records. They just love the
I
music.
guess they love the music.
That's what you call hit records. That's what hit records do. I mean, we just been blessed with having hit records.
One of the fortunate things, though, is that all the music that we did are from the acoustic value of music. It is the live strings, brass, woodwinds. We had one song where they even used a harp called Just Can't Say Hello. And it was a harp that was played in the beginning. We have another song on a slow basis that where the producer plucked the chords inside of a baby grand piano to get the sound he wanted. So these things are like unique. They're not. It's hard to find that anywhere anymore because I guess of expenses.
Skilled musicians
musicians.
in live sessions.
Live sessions.
That help you put
That
that
help,
music
yeah.
together.
And a
People
lot of things now
really knew what they were doing.
It's electronic now.
Right.
Then you gotta just keep it to what you said. You just gotta remember that. See, New York is a special place on this planet.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's very special.
Yeah.
And my four parents and relatives before, half of them was from New York. And they just know how to pick a certain thing, the right thing. And they chose us. They adopted us as an act, you know.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yes,
Oh,
it
Yes,
is.
it
It really
is.
is.
Yes,
Very
it is.
thankful
Amazing.
for it.
I'm really humbled by it.
To capture New York is somebody
That's
you know,
it.
to people's dreams.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
You was talking about when you all was growing up. Who did you all idolize as entertainers, and who do you idolize today? So it's a two-question.
For me, okay.
Okay.
I idolized and copied everything that little Anthony and the Imperials ever did. That was because of that was my style of voice. Of course, there's many others, but that's when I really found that I might have some kind of a talent because of his, you know, he just inspired me with his music. For
Butch?
me.
All right. Who
Yeah.
inspired you?
Oh,
me?
Yeah, yeah. Who
Oh, the
inspired you?
Temps. The Temps.
Temps, the Temps?
The Temps. The Temps inspired me.
Jimmy?
see, I was a lone singer, so I always loved James Brown.
All right.
I loved him. He was man back then.
Yeah.
Joe?
My group was the Flamingos. The Flamingos were my group. That was the group that I idolized. I felt that they were the best singing group I ever heard. I've got double pocket CDs of just about everything they've ever recorded home right now. I listen to a lot of things every once in a while just to listen to the techniques. I used to watch them on stage religiously, along with a lot of other groups, because when I was a little kid, like the Uptown in Philly was like the Apollo in New York. And when I was small, I got my aunt and older cousins. They used to take me with them to these shows. And as a kid, I got a chance to see the Flamingos, Little Anthony and Imperials, the Moon Glows, James Brown when he first got started, Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, the Drifters. I got a chance to watch these groups. I used to study them, study everything they did, from the way they held their hands, the way they had the shoes on, the way they moved, everything. And I just felt like, hey, one of these days I'm gonna be up there. I just felt it. And then as I became a teenager and ran into these guys, and we all had the same dream, and it's been that way ever since.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's wonderful. And who do you all admire today?
Wow. Who do I admire today?
Or that
Well-
you can see yourselves?
No one
Well,
knew.
Luther, he's got this gone, but
Yeah.
Luther, he's one of the best singers, was one of the best singers in the last 35 years. Phenomenal.
He was. That's
Yeah.
right. He was.
I have to say, for
Best.
me, it's not a male singer; it's a female,
Okay.
Mariah Carey. I just love the sound of her voice, and her resonance is so clear. Her range is so vast, and that's something I admire everything she always does.
Butch?
I had to think about that. I don't have any one special singer. don't know. Because believe it or not, I don't listen to music that much when I'm not singing. You know, I do other things. I listen to other things, you know, but not as much as you might think. You know, as I guess as you find fighters who used to fight, who fought, whenever they have downtime, they don't watch boxing. Athletes, they don't generally watch games. So I guess I fall in that same category. So I don't know. I would have to think about that.
Okay. What advice would you give to young people today that want to get into show business?
Learn your craft. Learn your craft. Because if you know how to read, write, vocal, get in that business aspect, can nobody take that money away from you.
Understand the business.
You gotta learn the business.
And also learn how to treat people. Don't burn no bridges. In other words, the very fact that we're sitting here right now is a direct result of us being able to go back across some of the bridges in life that we built. We've had to go back across some of those bridges to get back here, to get back to where we were. And this is a direct result of that. You know, had we burnt those bridges, we wouldn't be sitting here.
That's true.
Like Mike over here, you know?
Oh, yes.
He was a little Ouija little kid, snotty-nosed kid when we met him. But you know how kids on the side of the stage, man, let me do this.
Was he 17 yet?
Yeah.
Was he 17?
Something like that. It's about like that.
Come show your face,
Come
man.
right.
Come show your face, man.
Forever.
And
This is Michael B.
He was the little knucklehead. Now he's a
Manager for
businessman.
Double Exposure.
We hired him back.
you know, we let him do this, do that. And he grew up and showed us stuff that he's a real man, you know. And we respect him, you know.
And he had a great MC voice. That was
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Put your
does.
foot on the rock.
Put your foot on the rock. Let's pat it. Don't you dare stop. It's time to get down with the sound of Philly. I need to let him do it. That's all.
You've been listening.
But
You've
he-
been listening.
Yeah, I've been listening all
Michael
these
B.,
years.
I want to ask you a question. How do you feel after all these years working with the group? How do you feel?
I feel good. It's a dream come true. I mean, when I met them, the record 10%, which grabbed me, and when I met them, it was phenomenal to meet them in the place where I was DJing. And from that point on, I saw that they didn't have an MC. So I said to Joe, I said, you know, I'd like to MC to you guys. He said, well, next time we're in town, give us a call. So I heard them being in Town Hill 2 out in Brooklyn. And I called down, they put him on the phone. I said, Joe, you said I could. He said, well, come on down. And then the rest is history.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So thank you. Y'all go ahead.
Guys, what do you all want to be remembered for? Tell me one particular thing or two particular things that you would like to be remembered for.
Just being straight up men,
Yeah.
straight up gentlemen. That's all. Just being known for just being fair and being right with folks. Being
You gotta
Yeah.
treat people the
Straight
way
up,
you would
that's
want
all.
to be treated.
You know, we appreciate all the accolades. You know, we're blessed to be in the position we're in. Very grateful for awards and such. You know, we're very humbled by it all. You know, and just to people know that, hey, man, there's some good guys. There's some good guys. You know,
Men
that's
of
all.
integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Men of
There you
integrity.
go.
That's beautiful.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for this interview, Double Exposure, for Our World Media Magazine. We're also here at Resort World Casino with Double Exposure will be performing this evening. Hey, have a great show. You
Thank you.
always do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this time.
Thank
Yes.
you.
It's been a pleasure.